The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Peace I leave you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give it to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled or afraid. You heard me tell you, I am going away and I will come back to you. If you loved me, you would rejoice that I am going to my Father, for the Father is greater than I. And now I have told you this before it happens, so that when it happens you may believe. I will no longer speak much with you, for the ruler of the world is coming. He has no power over me, but the world must know that I love the Father, and that I do just as the Father has commanded me." The Gospel of the Lord. Did anyone else catch this in the first reading? They stoned Paul and dragged him out of the city, supposing he was dead. But then when the disciples gathered around him, he got up and entered the city. Wow. Talk about courageously living the gospel. St. Paul was stoned nearly to death, gets back up and goes back into the city to proclaim the gospel. That's incredible. That really is incredible when you think about it. The tenacity, the courage, the strength of this man. But it's interesting because the strength that he has, the courage that he has, couldn't come from himself. This is not something that someone could do on their own. It doesn't make any sense. We don't have it within us. But instead, that strength and that courage and that tenacity comes from Christ, and it came for Paul from his relationship with Christ. We read this in our entrance antiphon. "Sing praise to our God, all you who fear God, both small and great. For now salvation and strength have come in the power of his Christ." This is precisely what we're talking about here. This is the power of Christ. This is the strength of Christ. This is what salvation looks like. And in our gospel, Jesus says, "I'm leaving you with peace. Not as the world gives, but a different kind of peace. One that helps you to live in the world, to have this strength, the strength of Christ in the midst of difficulties and challenges, even in the midst of being stoned nearly to death. Peace is possible. Salvation is possible because Christ, our strength, is with us. What a great consolation for us. I don't know about you, but I've never been stoned before. Hopefully none of us here will have to face that. But if St. Paul can be stoned and still get up and proclaim the glory of Christ, proclaim the salvation of Christ, how much more than we too can live in any circumstance, can live the peace of Christ, can move forward and go out and proclaim him, not with our own strength, not by virtue of our holiness, but by virtue of him and his power and the salvation that he has wrought for us and the peace that he desires to give us. This is good news. This is the gospel. Jesus Christ has come to save us, and this is what that salvation looks like. It's not simply something that we experience at the end of our life, but we get a taste of it here on earth. Whenever we experience his peace, whenever we experience his power, when we experience his life, this is his salvation, him sharing life with us. Jesus Christ wants to share his life with us not only in eternity, but here and now, so that we can have this power, so that we can courageously live the gospel, so that we can go forth and proclaim him and proclaim his love in the midst of any circumstances. Today, in a particular way, I want to invoke the intercession of St. Paul, who really is an incredible figure, who lived an incredible life, not because of his own greatness, not because of his own willpower or his own strength, but because he relied on the Lord, because he threw himself into this relationship with the Lord. And so through his intercession, let us ask him for that same grace to cling to Christ, who is our salvation, who is our power, who is our strength, so that we can go forth from this place and just as courageously proclaim the gospel wherever we may be.